Six Flags Over Texas hasn't gotten a new roller coaster in a while, and I definitely think one will be coming in the future. So today I'll be giving my 3 most likely options on what their next coaster will be, as long as its layout. At number 3, we have an RMC T-Rex track. Since Six Flags works with RMC so much, I think that they'll start adding RMC T-Rex tracks at their parks in the future. Now, Six Flags Over Texas is one of the more likely parks in my opinion, but the reason it's lowest on the list is because Six Flags Over Texas already has a big RMC, New Texas Giant, and I don't know if Six Flags would be willing to add a very similar RMC in the same park. At number 2, we have an SNS 40 Free Fly. Now, there's already a Free Fly in Texas, Batman the Ride at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, but considering Six Flags put the first 2 RMC hybrids in the same state, I think it'd be possible that they'd put 2 4D coasters in the same state. Now, if they're going to add one, I think it would have an original layout, because Iron Rattler and New Texas Giant weren't clones like these rides. But knowing Six Flags, since they put 2 Batman the Ride clones in the same state, I think that they could do a clone, but I do think the original layout is more likely. And at number 1, we have a B&M Wing Coaster. Let me say that I could easily see a dive coaster too, as those rides are relatively cheap, for B&M standards at least. But I think the Wing is more likely. Six Flags Over Texas is really overdue for a new B&M. In the future, I think they'll get one. Now, Six Flags has a budgetary rule, I believe, but X-Flight, another B&M Wing coaster, was just under it, so I think that the Six Flags Over Texas one would be similar. So at number 1, we have a B&M Wing coaster, so let's move on to the layout. So as for the layout, now I don't know if Six Flags Over Texas owns this land, but I believe they do. If they don't, it will probably go in a different section of the park. I think that there will be a 180-degree turn leading into the lift hill, followed by a wing over drop, of course, which will be followed by an upwards 90-degree turn into a 0G roll. Following by that would be a low-to-the-ground helix, which will be followed by a dive loop. After that dive loop, I believe there will be an overbank turn leading into a barrel roll with near-miss elements, very similar to X-Flight's. After that, I believe there will be a second helix leading into the brake run. Now that I've predicted the layout, I'm going to be putting it into Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Now, I know it's not the best recreation thing out there, like No Limits 2 or something, but I still wanted to make a recreation, and Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 was my option. Now, by the way, I used a B&M floorless coaster instead, as there is no wing coaster in the game. And I made this recreation on mobile, so I didn't have the option to download the wing coaster model. So, here's the layout right here. So those are my predictions on Six Flags Over Texas' next coaster. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later on Coasterzilla.